लिंक
एवढं लवकर अजून वेळ आहे ना सर.
Yes, I have resumed the recording.
Sir, shall we start? सर शुरू कर. Okay, we can now start. Rohit sir, unmute yourself.
So please unmute your video.
Okay, actually host were unable to unmute me. A very warm greeting to one and all present here. I heartily welcome all the dignitaries for this virtual workshop on intellectual property rights management organized by IQC of Mahatma Gandhi Vidya Mandirs, Arts, Science and Commerce College, Manmar. Now I request to Dr. R.S. Kale sir to introduce our most valued resource person, Mr. Prem Charles.
A very warm greetings from the MGB family. Today we have an eminent personality for our today's workshop, Mr. Prem Charles, belonging to Tamil Nadu. He is a managing director, Alino and R&D Private Limited, India, co-founder, Rainbeam Global Education Services, managing partner and patent agent at Enhance IP and Consultancy Services in India. Yesterday, when I was going through the biodata of Mr. Prem Charles, it was really a very huge biodata and a valuable. Only one thing is more to explain that is 25 and more patents are what do you say? He has 25 and more patents on his name. So I think this sentence is much to explain about him. I will not be the barrier between Mr. Prem Charles and the audience. I request Prem Charles to please take over the audience. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Charles, is over to you.
Thank you for the introduction, sir. And am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So thank you for this opportunity to connect session on intellectual property rights management. I would like to state is so please bear with me whenever there is a disturbance in the audio. And if there is any stoppage, just give me an intimation immediately so that I will also stop and wait for the internet to resume. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So fine. Let's start of the session. So today's session we'll be discussing about intellectual property rights and the classification management. The primary disclosure I would like to state here is all the information that I give during this session is only for educational purposes. And those laws and practices, before you apply in the practical aspects, it is better to consult with a patent agent or a patent attorney to make sure that there are no legal boundings that hinder your practices. And I do not intend to promote any logo or brand or anything during the session. It's only for the purpose of understanding completely. So when we get into research, the primary aspect of research in any educational institution is to create something. But in the basics, research has different perspectives. Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So when we talk about research, we have some different perspectives. The most important thing is that for some group of people, research is always about earning, and for some group of people, research is always about spending. So to be precise, the people who spend the most amount of their pocket money or their hard-earned money is the people in the educational fraternity, because when we take up any research somewhere or the other, even though the government or some funding organizations invests money on us, uh, the amount of money that's spent from our pockets will also be quite higher, which can never be taken back. But for the other group, always research is considered to be earning. So they are the industrial people. So when we in an industry take up any research, the first thing to invest at the minimum, the most important is spending at all. And the other thing is that research is what is happening. Research is what is actually fueling the global business economy. So if there is no research, there are no products. If there are no products, then we are not going to spend any much money from our pockets. If we are not going to spend much money from our pockets, there is no business at all. So unless and until research takes place in this world, there is no business or there is no fuel to the global market economy. So in a basic perspective of an educational institution, what happens usually is we take up a problem, we create an idea, we refine it, and we tend to find a solution for the problem. And once we achieve the solution, we have some different options for the solution to be exhibited to the public domain. One is we actually publish the work in a journal, or we tend to write a book, or maybe we tend to make it as a project, or we tend to go for an exhibition, or maybe we tend
Sorry, you are not audible.
For a competition, or very few aspects, people will try to convert their research work into a product. And if it, hello?
Yeah, voice break is there. Okay.
Okay. And I'm really sorry for the situation. We
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have, I'm in Africa now, and
No
here they
problem.
currently run in 3G.
Okay, no
They're
problem.
not even
No problem. Continue, sir.
Okay,
Please,
okay.
please.
Fine. Okay. So how do we handle a research outcome is the primary thing that differs between an industry and an institution. So let me take the institutional way first. When we complete a research, the first thing we tend to do is we tend to display it and publicize it through the public domain, so that we try to get some good impact for our research. And we never claim any ownership for our research, because once we publish it as a paper in a journal, it becomes a freely accessible domain to the entire world to make use of it. And we usually used to retain it as a paperwork forever and use it only for the career purposes, career improvements. And in most cases, we spend from our pocket. So this is what happens in an institution. But what happens in an industrial domain is that once they take up a research, until the moment they protect the research, they try to keep everything secret. Unless a product is launched to the market, entire research is kept secret in the industry. They will never claim, or they will never publicize anything to the external world. Once it is complete, they try to take the legal ownership for the complete research work through any intellectual property available, and they convert their research work into their assets. So as it was described in the circulation, in the WhatsApp circulation, it was very clearly stated that intellectual property is an intangible asset. Yes. So in any industry, the research work is actually transformed into an asset. Once it is converted as an asset, then they will create an option to make money out of the investment, and they will convert all the investments, all the expenses into an investment, and they will start making money. This is the basic difference of handling a research in an industrial way as well as the institutional way. So what are the different types of intellectual properties that is available for an industry or for any researcher out in the market when we take up a research? So when we buy a property, we register it with the government. And once the government issues us a document, we call it as a property that is protected by law. A registered property is always protected by law. When such a creation or when such a property comes out of our intellectual abilities, and if we protect it through law, we call them as intellectual property rights. This is the basic application of what is intellectual property right. You buy a property and you register it with the government. Unless and until we register it to the government, it is not protected. It means you are not the owner of the property. Likewise, even though we have a wonderful, stupendous idea, unless and until if it is not registered with the government, we cannot claim it as an intellectual property right. It is just a layman research that is laid outside to the public domain for free of cost. Anyone can access it without any problem. So by this term, I mean to say intellectual property in any manner needs to be registered with the government. Unless and until registered, we cannot call it as an intellectual property right. So what are the different types of creativities available in different fields for professionals? Those people who work in the cine industry, they create different works in terms of pictures. They create new movies. They make new songs and photography, paintings, poetry, etc. These are the creative subject matters of the people in the cine industry or in the creativity industry. When we think about engineering professionals usually handle with machines, structures, softwares, hardwares, and codes, and different parts of designs. And when we talk about those people who are in the pharmaceutical domain, and I think every one of us know now what is happening with the COVID vaccine across the world. So this is the best time to discuss about biological or bioscientific or microbiological inventions. Many countries today never want to give the patent rights for any other country free of cost, because they want to make money out of their intellectual property right. So when any person in the chemical domain or in the pharmaceutical domain creates something, maybe a new virus or an antivirus, for a computer, we call it an antivirus, or if it is injected as a vaccine for a human body, we call it as a vaccine. Anyways, a vaccine is an antivirus, right? So when people create a antivirus or an antibacterial drug or an algae type of stuff or a drug or a plant species that is not available naturally in the public domain or that is not available naturally, they call it as inventions, and these people work into those types of creativity. And when we think about business professionals, management professionals, we work with creating new brands, new business methods, new business processes, new business theories, and even much more. So this is what happens. This is how the creativity is applied in different fields of studies. So now we being in this session being focused to management, especially, we will try to maximum discuss about those intellectual property rights that deals with brands, that deals with business methods, that deals with theories, and that deals with processes, etc. So I don't think we'll have much time to discuss about different laws and all. So we all know when we buy a property, our property is governed by different laws across the world. Likewise, intellectual property right, once it is created and registered, it is bound by intellectual property law of the country. And once the intellectual property is going to be transferred to another person, it comes under Transfer of Property Act. And if suppose the intellectual property is going to be leased or eased to someone or maybe rented to someone, it comes under the Intellectual Property Indian Easement Act. And if an intellectual property is going to be transferred completely to another one person, that comes under Indian Registration Act. We also have the Indian Stamps Act. So likewise, there are n number of acts that is playing within the intellectual property law domain of the Indian system. Okay. So how do we create, or what are the basic criterion to create an intellectual property right is that the first thing, the research outcome should be novel. Novel in the sense there is no transgenerations or there is no minor transformations. The research outcome should be primarily novel. It should be non-obvious. Non-obvious in the sense when we have created something, and if I'm going to tell some other person that I have created this thing, If the other person is able to tell me that I know this already, it is obvious. So the research work should be non-obvious. And the most important thing, any creativity to be protected under an intellectual property right, it should have a viability to create a business out of it. Unless and until the creativity has the ability to create a business out of it, we cannot term it as an intellectual property right at all. So these are the basic criteria. It should be novel, it should be non-obvious, and also it should be business viable. So now let's get into what are the different types of intellectual property rights. Number one, we call something called as a copy right. By the word itself, we have the definition very clear. Any creativity that can be done as a business object, we call it as a copyrightable subject matter. So any creative creation that can easily be done as a business just by copying from one mode to another mode and also created as a business, we call it as a copyrightable subject matter. So as I told you already, the images, the pictures, movies, songs, all these things are copyrightable subject matter because we can just copy it from one medium to other medium and sell it to the market. So anything that can be just copied from one medium to other medium and sold in the market as a CD or as a DVD or as a hardware material or as a book or as a journal or anything for the purpose that come under copyrightable subject matter. And the validity of the copyright is extraordinary in terms of commercial property domains. A copyright is valid until the author is alive, and also after 60 years from created a very wonderful song. And let's think that the song has become extraordinarily popular in the internet domain or the social media domain. If we have a copyright protection, it means the copyright for us is going to be valid for until our life and also 60 years after the life of the author. This is the primary type of intellectual property. The second thing we are going to discuss about is a trademark. By the name itself, it is very clear. When we create a symbol, a symbol is a mark. And if the symbol represents a business is trade, we call it as a trademark. Any symbol that created for the purpose of conducting a business is called as a trademark. The trademark has to be renewed with the Patent Office or the Indian Trademarks Office. And the next classification is the patents and designs. I will discuss about this in detail in the coming slides. So like how a copyright and a trademark are going to refer those copyrightable subject matters and the business viable subject matters. If a research comes out with a potential engineering intervention or a potential microbiological intervention, that they come under patents and they come under designs. I will talk in detail about this. A patent is governed by Indian Patents Act 1970 and a design is governed by Designs Act 2000. It is different, quite different. So likewise, we have another one part of another one classification of intellectual property, that is geographical indications. So when a product becomes famous just for the purpose or just for the cause that it comes from an origin, or just for the purpose that it is famous because, or it has a good taste, or it has a good value because of the place from where it originates. I think you all know Darjeeling tea. This is the logo for Darjeeling tea. The intellectual property, the tea leaves that originates from Darjeeling is of a special taste and of a special value. And just because of this, they have given a geographical indication for Darjeeling tea. Likewise, we have Banaras silks. So the silk saree that is produced in Banaras has a different quality when compared to the silk sarees or the silk material that is available from other parts of the country. So Banaras silks is also a geographical indication. So the product is famous just because of the reason that it is originating from a particular place. That is geographical indication. And next one, we have the next classification, that is trade secret. We don't have any particular law for trade secrets. In India, all trade secrets are governed only through separate agreements with all the employees. For an example, we drink a lot of Coca-Cola and Pepsi in India, not just India, across the world. Coca-Cola and Pepsi are consumed in huge quantities. But until today, the business secret or the recipe secret of Coca-Cola is not known by anyone, and just 3 or 4 people across the world know it. And including the location of the factory, they have kept the business model or the recipe of Coca-Cola as trade secret. In United States, we have a separate law for trade secrets, but in India, if suppose we are going to start a factory, or if we are going to start a business that is going to manufacture any food items, or maybe any good different types of chips or something, we all know there is a product called Bovento, and there are different types of soft drinks that is also available in India, that is manufactured completely in India. We have different types of chips materials with different brand names that is available, especially in India. But one day or the other, if the employee of that particular organization leaves the company and he goes to another company, what he will do is he will actually disclose the secret recipe of this particular product. So in India, what we usually do is when we employ an employee to a company in the research domain or something where there is a lot of business secrets available, we just have the protection of these business secrets through an employment agreement. That's all. So if an employee is voiding the terms of a business agreement, then there is a problem, and the company can only sue the person in the court, and there is no separate law for a trade secret in India. And we have different types of electronic products available in the market. For any electronic product, if we are able to create a new type of a layout for the integrated circuit, where they come under Semiconductor and Integrated Circuit Designs Act 2000, that is a separate intellectual property right. And we have a different intellectual property for plant variety. So when a plant variety is novel and distinct and uniform and stable for more than a period of 15 to 18 years, if suppose, let's consider we grow a type of tomato in one particular region, and the tomato, if it is planted in some other place, if the genome sequence or if the physical properties of the tomato changes, that means the tomato that has grown in one particular place is stable only in that particular soil, right? So likewise, if we are able to create a plant variety that is stable in any types of conditions, in any part of condition, in one particular land reform, and if the stability continues for more than 15 to 18 years, they give a protection under the Plant Variety Act. This also comes under the Indian Patents Act, as well as the Plant Variety and Farmers' Right Act of that particular year. And we have the next one that is called as microorganisms. I already told you. The vaccine that we have is a creation, is an invention through a microorganism. A vaccine is basically a dead virus that is injected into our body. And this dead virus is going to create immunity with area. So likewise, if we are able to create a microorganism, that microorganism is not naturally created and it is created in a laboratory. If it is not harmful for the human being, then we can claim under the Microorganisms Act. A microorganism creation or creativity is also valid for only 20 years. Right. So am I audible? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Fine, fine. Thank you. So let's get into the basic thing of patenting in today's era. The times have changed when we had different scientists in this world named Edison, named maybe was it James Watt or something. The times have changed. So earlier, when I was in the schools and when I was in the college days, people tend to tell me, or our teachers used to discuss about inventions. We had a lot of discussions about inventions and inventions. But today you can see, including the government of India, not just the government of India, the government of any other country across the world, they talk only about innovations and not about inventions. Across the world, educational institutions, industries, and everywhere, people talk only about innovations and not about inventions. So now, can someone tell me the basic difference between these two words, invention and innovation, from your perspective?
Invention is nothing but a new thing uh, which is extremely new or which is novel, and innovation is anything which is already there, and by doing something it is innovated.
Yeah, it has just been modified, right? Can I
Yes.
use that word? Fine. So that's a wonderful statement. Let me give you another analogy. Invention or those products that solves the needs, and innovations or those products that solves the wants. So the basic difference between the word need and want is the basic observation between the words inventions and innovations. So from the picture that is available here, when we had nothing to comb our hairs, the first comb of the world was created out of a stone. So I didn't get the image of a stone. So I have made something out of a wood. Today, we nowhere see these wooden combs available in this market. And even it is available, these wooden chips are extraordinarily cheaply available in the market. So this wooden comb is going to solve the needs of a person. And on the right hand side, we have another one product that is a removable flap comb. So today the problem is not buying a new comb. The problem is actually cleaning our comb that we have. Yes. So one person has innovated an existing comb and he has created a new design where this flap from underneath, if it is removed, it will remove all the dirt particles available on the bristles, and the cleaning is made very, very easy. And on the bottom, what we can see is an umbrella. The world's first umbrella was made out of crocodile's leather. So that is where invention played a very huge role. Today, we don't have time or we don't have energy to even carry an umbrella. The umbrella has directly started fixing to our heads. So this is where innovation and invention plays. So this is the basic difference. So I wake up in the morning and I ask my mother, I need something to eat. That is a need. But if I wake up in the morning and I ask my mother, I need something to eat, but the same thing should especially be delivered from Pizza Hut or from McDonald's with some extra toppings or with some extra seasonings and all, that is called as a want. So now just tell me, which of these two products will be costly in today's market or today's business era? Are inventive products going to be cheaper, or innovative products going to be cheaper? Which one is going to be cheaper? Okay. Am I audible?
Sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes. So in the chat box, Mr. Deepak has written, inventive products are going to be cheaper. So from this thing, we can very clearly identify any product or any business created to solve the needs of the public are not going to make big success or not going to make big money. And any product that is going to solve the wants of a person is going to make a good business and also a good sum of money. That is the reason today, as the business has gone global, we started talking a lot about innovations and we never spoke, and we stopped talking about inventions. So from the business perspective, when we start managing or when we start creating intellectual properties, the primary thing to be focused is on creating innovative products and not inventive products. When we create inventive products, that is not going to have a big market share, and that is not going to make a big business. And when we start targeting about innovative products, it is going to make a huge money. The best example is the mobile phones that we have today. So earlier, when mobile phones were invented, we bought the button phones, and the research prolonged. Today, we have mobile phones with foldable screens. We have mobile phones with screens in the front as well as the back. We have extraordinarily wonderful cameras. We have touch sensors. We have fingerprints. We have voice recognition systems. We have everything. All these things are not just the needs. The need of a mobile phone is just to communicate from one person to another person. So a basic mobile phone that is going to communicate from one person to other person is going to cost us only 1,000 rupees. But these products that is going to solve our wants is priced a minimum of 8,000 rupees, and it goes up to 8 lakhs and even 1 crore and 40 lakh rupees. We have some mobile phones launched by O2, and we have some, we have a model from Nokia called the Signature Cobra. In Nokia, there is a model of a phone called as a Signature Cobra that is priced about 80 lakhs or something, hardly I guess. I saw this model before 2 years and it was priced about 80 lakhs. Today, I don't know what is the price. So let us look at some of the wonderful innovations that is actually ruling in the market. So when we wear spectacles, we call it as a goggle, and when a dog wears, they call it as a doggle. So this lady has created a very wonderful business model where she designed different wonderful designs of doggles, and now she has launched this product across the world. It is available even in Google, and these doggles are making crores. It is patented in 2003. And this is one type of product when right from the childhood, or once we get to the age of about maybe about some 5th grade or 6th grade or 7th grade, we start worrying about our face, our looks, and our maybe our beauty. Example, this is the only one word, that's beauty. So one product that is from the Chinese, they have invented a nose straightening device, and she has also created a wonderful business model out of it. And this is also selling in thousands across the world. We have another one product called as a dog wig that is created by a Korean. When a man wears a wig, we call it just as a wig. But when we create, or when they design it for animals, they call it dog wigs and cat wigs. This is also making crores today. And this is one type of a blanket that is also patented by the Chinese. So since you people are from the Nasik, I don't know whether Nasik is a cold region or it's a hot region. Is it a cold region?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine then. Okay, fine then. So I think every one of you know the difficulty in handling your mobile phone, sitting in the couch and handling your mobile phone or your TV remote. It is very difficult in a cold region. So this person has invented a sleeved blanket where you can actually wear the blanket, as well as it has a pocket and it has a sleeve for your hand. You can keep your mobile phone, or you can keep your remote in the pocket itself, and you can easily operate the television. This is also patented by the Chinese. That is making crores today just because of their innovativeness and not the inventiveness. Now let us look at some really wonderful inventions that is not, or that did not make any money just because they are not protected by intellectual property right. So the first invention or the innovation was the World Wide Web, created by Sir Tim Berners-Lee. He never patented his invention, and just because he and other search engines, which is making billions and billions today. And the first ballpoint pen was invented by Lazo Birro in 1938. He never made any money, but later it was patented by Marcel. He sold the right to Marcel in 1945, and he patented. And until today, Marcel is making money because of the ballpoint pens. And these things, I think everyone know, we call it smileys. And officially, they are actually called as emoticons. So icons that describe the emotions. It was invented by Harvey Balls. It was copyrighted. I mean, it was created by Harvey Balls, but he failed to copyright. The original design of these smileys were sold to another one person, and he bought it just for the purpose, or just for about $45, hardly about some 1,500 rupees or something. And these emoticons, who owns the right for all these emoticons, are making crores and crores today. Okay, there is a question, can't innovation lead to innovation? Doesn't it mean invention necessary for innovation? Okay, Dr. Mukund, I will answer your queries at the end of the session, so that let's have a flow. Fine, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Now let's get into the word patent. A patent is the real game between the past, the present, and the future. A patent is the real game between the past, the present, and future. Now let me give you two brands. Brand number one is an Android and brand number two is Apple. Which one do you think has the highest market share? Is it Android or the Apple? When we think about the market share, Android holds the maximum market share, but when we talk about Apple, but when we talk about the profits made by one single company, Apple owns the highest market share in terms of profits, right? So when Android phones came to the market in the initial times, people started telling that I got an Android phone. I think during the year 2003 and 2004 and 2005, we spoke only about Android mobile phones. I got an Android, I got an Android, I got an Android. But just because Android platform is a freeware, anyone can create mobile applications and anyone can build on the basic firmware. Android has become something completely exploited just because it is not intellectual property protected. Today, we have N number of Android mobile phones, and no one says today that I have got an Android mobile phone. We start talking with the brand names. People say that I have bought a Samsung, and people say that I have bought a Vivo, or people say that I have bought an Oppo or something. So that word Android is completely depleted from the market. But in terms of an Apple, in 1973, when Apple launched its first product, they called it Apple. And today we have Apple iPhone 12 Pro. And until today, we call it just Apple, just because every single thing of Apple is protected by patent rights. So the past of an Apple was an Apple, the present of an Apple, and the future of Apple will also be an Apple, because everything under the Apple's wing is protected through intellectual property right. But the past of an Android was Android. The present of an Android mobile phone is the brand name. And maybe the future of an Android mobile phone is something that we can never even imagine. That is the reason I say the patent is the real game between the past, the present. So what I come to say here is, if we have a good invention or an innovation, unless and until we protect it with the help of a patent, we can never be sure about the future of our invention, because once an invention or an innovation is not protected, it is officially freely available for anyone in the world to get it exploited. So, so across the world, patents or any intellectual property across the world is handled only by WIPO, that is World Intellectual Property Office, that controls all patent offices globally. So this office is located in Geneva in Switzerland. And this is the one that lays all the basic guidelines for each and every single country to frame their intellectual property laws. In India, the Intellectual Property Office is the office of the Controller General of Patents, Designs, and Trademarks. There is one point that I want to tell everyone here. Patents laws are different across the world in each and every single country. For example, we people being business professionals, if we create a business model, if we create a new business model, a business model is not patentable in India as per the Indian Patents Act. But a business model is patentable under the United States Patents Act. This is where the difference is. In some countries, some inventions are patentable. In some countries, some inventions or innovations are not patentable. Maybe it is related to business, or maybe it is related to a product, or maybe it is related to a biological material, or maybe it is related to the health of a person. In every single country, these things are not patentable. And in some countries, some things are patentable. So this is for the information. The global patent offices are managed by World Intellectual Property Office, that is in Switzerland. And in India, the patents and designs or our intellectual properties are governed by the Controller General of Patents, Designs, and Trademarks. Okay. As I already told you, what can be patented and what cannot be patented is different as per the law. In Indian Patents Act, Section 1 and Section 2 says, or Section 3 says what cannot be patented. And Section 1 and Section 2 says what can be patented. Number one, it should be a patentable subject matter. I will tell you what is a patentable subject matter in the next slide. First thing, it should have an inventive step. Inventive step in the sense it should be a little different compared to the previous version. It should be novel, as I already told you. It should be non-obvious, as I already told you. And the next criterion for patenting is it should be either be able to be used by an industry, or it should be able to be manufactured or applied in an industry. If an invention or if an innovation is not able to be used by an industry, or if it is not able to be manufactured by an industry, we cannot call it as a patentable subject matter, or they cannot be patented. For example, if we have written a book, and this particular book, if it cannot be, it is actually a purpose of a copyright. A book can just be copied from one medium to another medium and be sold to the market. So a book cannot be used by an industry, or a book cannot be manufactured by an industry. So in that case, this does not fall under the patentable subject matter. Now let's see what cannot be patented in detail. Number one, anything any invention or any innovation, if we tend to prove that they are against the well-established natural laws, they cannot be patented in India. For example, Einstein's mass energy relationship says E is equal to mc square. It means that energy exerted by a body is directly proportional to the mass of the body and the velocity square of light. So if we have created an invention or an innovation, and if suppose the innovation or the invention proves that Einstein's mass energy relationship is wrong, then we cannot patent it. And any invention or innovation, if it is harmful to the human or animal life, even though you have created a very wonderful object or a very wonderful medicine or very wonderful product, if it is harmful for human or animal life, it cannot be patented. And any mere scientific theory or an abstract or just discovery of a living or non-living thing that is already available in the nature, it is not patentable. So discovery and invention both are quite different. When we open the cover of anything that is already available in nature, that we call it as a discovery. So if we find a new planet or a new galaxy, or if we find a new stellar region, we call it as a discovery. But the telescope that is manufactured to find such particular galaxies or planets, they come under inventions. So inventions are patentable. Discoveries or scientific theories are not patentable. So another form of an existing chemical substance is not patentable unless and until the efficiency of the product is increased. So if we have a chemical substance of some formula, if we have done a research and changed the form of a chemical substance, and if the change in form has created an efficiency in its usage, then it can be patented. If the efficiency is not there, just the mere change in chemical formula is there, it cannot be patented. Admixtures resulting in aggregation of properties are not patentable in India. Like if I say that sodium and chloride are added together to create sodium chloride, we call it mere admixture of different objects. So mere admixtures of any properties resulting in just addition of those powers of different components, it cannot be patented. And mere arrangement and rearrangement of components that are working independent to each other are not patentable. Okay, let's assume a refrigerator. Let us think that inside the business meeting of a company, the company comes up with a new product idea, where the product is going to be a refrigerator with an integrated MP3 player or an audio player. Let us assume that this is the way a new product is going to be discussed in the meeting of a company. If the company is going to launch a product that is going to be a refrigerator with an MP3 player, and if the refrigerator and the MP3 player works differently, that is, if it does not work interdependent to each other, and the refrigerator does its work separately, the MP3 player does its work separately, it cannot be patented. So let's take a different case here. Let us imagine that a person or a company has devised a refrigerator that has a sensor. And if that sensor is able to sense the change in temperature in a kitchen room, when a human being enters the kitchen, human body has a minimum amount of heat that is emitted. If a refrigerator is able to detect the heat dissipated by a person entering the kitchen, and through this sensing, if the refrigerator is automatically able to switch on an MP3 player based on the detection, if it is a human being, I mean, it is a male or a female, then this particular invention is patentable because the refrigerator and the MP3 player are working interdependent to each other. So any invention, arrangement or rearrangement of different components, if they are working interdependent to each other, it is patentable. If they are working independently, it is not patentable according to Indian Patents Act. And the next one, new methods of agriculture and horticulture are not patentable. It doesn't mean that machineries that has been created for agriculture or horticulture is not patentable. Machineries or for horticulture is not patentable. Medicinal and therapeutic processes. Medicinal process is different and a medicine or a drug is different. A medicinal process or a therapy is not patentable, but a medicine or a drug is patentable, or the medical machines or these medical components are patentable. Plants, trees, their biological parts, apart from those available in nature, that is maybe any process of production, except from those microorganisms that is not available in nature is patentable. Those which is available in nature, they are not patentable. And here comes what is not patentable according to the Indian Patents Act. A mathematical model or a business model or just a computer program is not patentable. So those people who are in the computer domain or those people who are in the business with master of computer applications domain, if suppose they create, let us assume they create a new software or a new algorithm, a mere algorithm, if it is subjected or if it filed for a patent, they will not give a patent right. But if the algorithm has been implemented into a machine, and the machine should not be a computer, right? It should not be a normal computing machine. If the algorithm is implemented in a machine, and if we are going to claim right for the machine and the algorithm together, then they will give a patent. But mere software or a mere algorithm will not be given a patent. And anything related to copyrightable subject matter, they cannot be applied for a patent, right? And a scheme or a method for playing a game, something using your mental power cannot be patented. Presentation of any information already available in the public domain in a different method or in a different manner cannot be filed for a patent. Topographies of integrated circuits cannot be patented. And especially in India, any invention or innovation that comes out through traditional knowledge is not patentable. I think you would have heard that India has fought with the United States government to cancel the patent for turmeric. In the recent years, India has actually canceled the patent right for turmeric in US because in US, traditional knowledge patents are possible. But in India, because we have a lot of heritage towards traditional knowledge in terms of medicine or in terms of therapies or in terms of processes, it is not patentable in India. And the next two things are quite important. Any invention that is related to the atomic energy, a nuclear fission or a nuclear fusion process, or the materials available for nuclear fission or nuclear fusion, if we are able to create some inventions or innovations in this particular region, we are not supposed to file a patent without the permission of the government. If suppose, even though we file it, no patent will be granted, that particular person who files a patent will be taken under the custody of the Defense Department for further processes. And when we are going to file a patent in another country, I think recently there is a trend in India that many people are filing for patents in Australia. And many people, I came to know that many institutions have started filing patents in Australia. The law very clearly states, without taking the permission of the Indian government, if an Indian citizen or an Indian institution or any legally bound person, natural or unnatural, under the government of India, if they are going to file a patent right for an Indian invention in another country without the permission of the government, they will be subjected to a term of a minimum 2 years imprisonment. Yes, people doesn't know the law, and there are many people who are actually filing patents across the world. It is not right. So the government of India considers that if we are going to file a patent in India, we being an Indian citizen, such a creation is a property of the Indian government and it should not be owned by any other government without the permission of government of India. So if a person files a patent for an atomic creation, or if a person files a patent for something, any creation in India without the permission of the government in some other country, all these are objectionable subject matters, and imprisonment as well as fine, both are possible. So these are the basic things about what can be patented and what cannot be patented. Now we discussed all about what cannot be patented in clear. So now let's get into what can be patented. We can patent a process, a method, or we can patent products, we can patent designs, and we can patent the chemical compositions, and we can patent microorganisms. Fine. So this is the first process patent for your example I am telling you. In India, we people, or especially South Indians, I'm not sure about how the situation is in North India. I think everyone know the product rasam. Do you know what is rasam? South Indian dish. So the Western people call it as pepper water. Western people call it as pepper water. Okay. So let us assume in this particular context, I will tell you how to actually protect an invention before publicizing it. How to protect your creation before making it or before taking it to the public domain. We have different types of rasams available in India, or something we call as pepper rasam, and we call as tomato rasam. We have tamarind rasam, and even we have beetle leaf rasam. The leaves that we use, I mean the beedas that we have. Using this also people create different types of rasam. Let's assume every single person in the who's attending this seminar is going to prepare different types of rasam. While going back from your college or while going back from your university, on the way, just pick up some different types of leaves. Okay, different leaves from different plants and add it to your rasam every single day and start documenting it. So day one, you create a different taste of a rasam. Maybe it is of good taste or maybe it is of bad taste, document it. Day two, you create a rasam like this for 365 days. If we start adding different leaves to the rasam is going to taste in a different manner. Out of these 365 recipes of rasam, there will be at least 1 or 2 types of rasams that will be extraordinarily tasty. That is normally compared to those that is normally available in the public domain or in the hotels. 1 or 2 rasams will be extraordinarily tasty. So what we are supposed to do is we need to take a paper and we need to make sure we write a very clear document on the method of preparation for a rasam. But make sure that this rasam should also be able to be manufactured in a hotel or manufactured in a factory. In Hyderabad, there is a factory. There is a hotel called as Paradise. Okay, Paradise Hotel is famous for their biryanis, where these biryanis are manufactured by machines and they are exported across the world. Okay, so likewise, like how the Paradise Hotel is going to manufacture biryanis using their machines, your rasam should also be able to be manufactured by a machine. Okay, just take a document and just take a paper and write it very clearly on this is what is the preparation for rasam. You can keep your own name for the rasam and file it as a patent right. We have to wait until the patent application is published in the official Gazette of the Indian Patent Office. Once the patent application is published, it is then we should start publicizing our invention. Unless and until an invention is publicized by the government of India through a publication of a patent application, we should not be disclosing this particular inventions or the process to any other person. Once a patent application is published, then we can create a video and we can launch it to the YouTube. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, maybe after some 2 years of time, somehow or the other, your rasam will reach a 5-star hotel and we need to wait. We need to just wait. And from the moment our rasam starts reaching about some 10 or 20 5-star restaurants, at that point of time, what we are supposed to do is we need to file a suit against that particular hotel or that particular restaurant that they started manufacturing my rasam without my permission, and my rasam is already patented and published in the official gazette of the patent office. It is exactly from that point of time, every single cup of rasam that we manufacture or that the hotel manufactures will make money, because once a hotel becomes famous for one particular type of a dish, they will not stop producing the particular type of dish. Instead, what they will try to do is they will start giving a profit share from every single cup of rasam they sell within their market. So this is the basic difference between protecting an invention, secretizing an invention, and publishing an invention or an innovation in any manner. So once we have an innovation through a process or a product, we need to first protect it and then publicize it. This is how it should be handled. So likewise, if we are able to create a new process for manufacturing a brick, or if we are able to create a new process for manufacturing any product, they come under process patents. So this is the next one. It is a product patent. So if an invention is highly usable, is highly different or highly innovative, and the third one is a self-parking chair. All the three are just chairs. So when we talk about the name, all the three are just chairs, but the utility of each and every single product changes. If we are able to be innovative to create a product that has a minor utility, changing utility, then we can apply for a patent. And these are designs where the global business market or the global businesses across the world, I don't know whether they make much money out of patents or not, but the global businesses across the world, they make much more money just by designs, just by filing designs. Okay, what is the difference between a patent and a design is quite different. For filing a patent, it should have some technological advancement in the purpose of, or in the process of its usage, or in the process of its manufacturing, or in the process of its ability to solve a problem. It should be technologically advanced. But in terms of a design, they will never ask for any technology advancements. The patent office just asks for a change or an innovative type of a look for any particular available product. Fine. So the product that we see on the left side is a Samsung, and the product that we see on the right side is a Apple. That is very clearly identifiable because Samsung holds an elliptical shape, a rectangular elliptical shape of a home button, and all Apple mobile phones have a circular shape of a home button. And the product at the bottom, you have three different types of bottles. That is, one is Aquafina, the one is Bisleri, and you have Archie, and you also have Bailey. Even though all these companies are selling just waters, they are just selling water to us, but still they make money just by making sure that their product's design is well registered to our mind. The moment we see the bottle of an Aquafina, we can very confidently say that it is an Aquafina, even though the sticker is not there, because the bottle design is different. The moment we see a Bailey, without even the sticker, we can say that it is a Bailey water bottle because the design of the bottle is different. So the technology has no change, only the design is changed. So this is where companies or industries register for design patents. And this is another one example. So you can see a tail light on the left side, on the top left, it is an Audi, and the top right, it is a Hyundai i20. Even though the tail lights of both the cars are alike, somewhere alike, the interior differences make an impact. And Audi has a separate design patent registered for their tail lights, and Hyundai has a design patent registered for their tail light. This is different. And at the bottom, we can see that is all the four cars on the bottom line. They are all Hyundai i20. They call it actually as facelift editions. Without changing anything in the interiors, if the face of the car or if the face of a product or if the visibility of a product is only changed industrially, they call it as facelift editions. So this is a Hyundai i20, and this is another Hyundai i20, the golden one, that is also having a different look. The third one is also a Hyundai i20 that has a very different look compared to the second one. And the fourth one is also a Hyundai i20. If the look of a product alone changes in that particular aspect, we can file a design patent. And as I already told you, a chemical composition can also be filed for a patent. But if it has to be filed, we have to show in the efficiency. We all know paracetamol drug. Paracetamol is a phenol nitrated to para-nitrotoluene. And this para-nitrotoluene then acetylated, if it is acetylated, we call it as paracetamol. In US, in the year 2014, one lady has filed a patent for the same chemical composition of a paracetamol. But one particular thing that she has done to paracetamol is that she improved the taste of paracetamol drug so that the paracetamol is no more so bitter. We all know that paracetamol is one of the most bitter tasting capsule. So what this particular lady or this particular industry did was they encapsulated paracetamol into a capsule, and this capsule will make sure that the paracetamol is no more bitter in taste. And just because of that, she got a patent granted. So a chemical composition, even though if it remains the same, a mere addition, the efficiency of the product has changed in terms of taste or in terms of action, then it can be filed for a chemical composition patent. And final one, we all know algae, fungi, bacteria, viruses, unless and until it is natural, if it is a man-made creation, and if algae or the bacteria or the fungi or the virus is advantageous for human or animal life, then they can be patented. If they are not advantageous for human life, they cannot be patented under Patents Act Section 3. Okay, so before getting into the cost, let's actually discuss about the process of filing a patent in India. What are all the stages a patent application crosses, especially in India? Okay, we have a pre-filing stage and we have post-filing stage for any patent application in India. There are two options. If we are going to file a patent to the patent office, either we can seek the help of a professional or we can do it by our own. If we are going to seek the help of a professional to file for a patent, then it is very important to create a non-disclosure agreement, that is NDA. A non-disclosure agreement will protect you from the person stealing your invention and selling to another person. So before filing a patent using or through a professional, make sure to make a non-disclosure agreement. And without making a non-disclosure agreement, do not disclose any of your inventions to any other person. Once that is done, we need to make whether it is patentable or not. I told you what are patentable subject matters and what are not patentable subject matters. If your invention comes under the patentable domain, then file for a patent. If not, do not file for a patent. Then go for prior art check. Prior art check is to find whether there is any existing inventions in the same domain, which will maybe set aside my patent without getting it granted. Then we need to make a patent draft. A patent to be drafted has certain guidelines under Patent Rules 2003. So in India, patents are governed by Indian Patents Act 1970. Likewise, the draft and the processes to be carried out are ruled by separate rules that comes under the Indian Patents Act, that is called as Patent Rules 2003. The Patent Rules 2003 has very specifically laid guidelines to draft a patent and to file a patent and to make sure that the complete process goes without any hassle. So this is the pre-filing phase of a patent application. Once it is filed, the patent application will be published in the official journal of the. I already told you, unless and until your invention is published by the patent office, we are not supposed to disclose anything about the invention to any person. So publication is a very important stage of a patent application. After publication, we are free to disclose to the external market or the external domain that this is what is my invention and this is how the complete thing works, so that no one else overrules our patent rights. So after publication, the patent will be sent for examination. In India, unless and until we pay a fees to the patent office and ask them or request them to examine our patent application. They will not examine our patent application at all. No. So this is the most important phase, after which they will say whether a patent will be granted or not. So this is what we call as filing a request for examination. And after the examination is being conducted, the patent office will release something called as first examination report. Like how we file a case in the police station, the police will give us a first information report. Likewise, the patent office will also give us something called as a first examination reports, in which they will give all the objections from their side to make sure that the patent is not granted. So the patent office will always try to make sure that your patent will not get granted. And it is the work of the creator or the inventor to file amendments and fight with the patent office to make sure that our patent gets granted. So after examination, we need to file a reply to the first examination report to the patent office. And from this reply, the patent office will call us for an argument, or we call it as a hearing. We need to attend an argument or a hearing. And once the argument is clear, then they will get the patent granted. This is how a normal patenting process happens in India. Especially in India, we have one particular thing that is called as oppositions. For example, let us assume your college has created a new product or a very wonderful product. Maybe I am actually doing business on the same domain of a product. Let us assume my company is also manufacturing a product almost equal to what invention you have created in your college or in your campus. So if you file for a patent and if your patent application is published in the public domain, the moment I receive or the moment I know that your patent application is published, I will file for an opposition to the Indian Patent Office, stating many reasons to make sure that your patent does not get granted. Because if you get your patent granted and if the product comes to the market, my business will be down. So this is a defense strategy. This is a defense strategy all industries will take to make sure that their product stands for a longer time in the industrial in the market. So any opposition filed to the patent office, the same can be for the grant of a patent, or if a patent is granted, they can even file an opposition even for after 1 year from the date of grant of a patent. Is a very big struggle when we discuss or when we start competing with industries. So this is how the pre-grant opposition and the post-grant opposition are being handled. We also have something called as an intellectual property appellate board in the government. Recently, the government has disposed this particular intellectual property appellate board. So the reason for intellectual property appellate board was we know that there are lumps of cases that is pending in the Indian courts. So for intellectual property cases to be solved at an easier manner, the government had a different body called as intellectual property appellate board. But today the appellate board is no more. If there is a discrepancy, infringement in our patent, we need to seek only the help of the concerned high court or the concerned patent is granted. Like how we pay a tax to the government of India called as a property tax. The moment we buy a tax, every year we keep paying a tax to the government. We call it as a property tax. Likewise, if a patent is granted, even though a patent has been granted by the patent office, we need to pay a maintenance fee, a patent maintenance fee to the government of India to make sure that the patent is in force for a long duration of time. Even if we miss paying the maintenance fee for 1 year, the government has all the rights to release your patent to the public domain free of cost for anyone to get manufactured. So patent also has maintenance charges after getting the patent granted, right? Now let's get into the cost of patenting. So when we talk about cost of patenting, the actual cost of patenting is very, very less in India, where we have two different fees. The first thing is that we need to decide what is the purpose for which the patent is being filed. If suppose the patent we are going to file is only for academic purposes and it is not going to be manufactured or not going to be taken to the complete serious business domain, then it is not advisable to spend a huge sum of money at all in your patent. If a patent is going to be used only for career, much amount of money in patenting. Then define your novelty, and before even a professional tells you or the patent office tells you that your invention is novel or not, make sure that you yourself try to find out from the websites or try to find out from different domains that your invention is extraordinarily novel. Unless and until it is extraordinarily novel, it is not advisable to spend a huge amount of money in patenting. And finally, think of all the abilities for your invention to be copied by another person. If your invention or innovation can be copied by another person very easily, then do not file for a patent or do not go for a huge amount of investments and then finally decide to invest. Fine. If suppose a patent is going to be, if you're going to take a patent definitely for the point of grant, then always make sure that you hire a professional to make your work done, because once a patent draft is completed and filed with the patent office, nothing can be changed. So if your patent, you're going to take it until the grant phase of a patent process, then make sure to hire a professional. If it is not going to be taken to the granted, and if you are going to use it only for career purpose, then it is advisable to do the works by your own, and you can hire a patent professional only for the purpose of filing and only for the purpose of transacting within the Indian Patent Office. So the fees is very, very less. You can file for a patent right from 6,000. So earlier, this was one of my older slides when I was filing patents for 9,000 rupees. Now today, we can even file patents for just 6,000 rupees. And the cost changes from different. When a natural person files for a patent, the fees is less with the government. When a small company files for a patent, the fees is little high. And if the patent is filed by an institution, the fees is almost 4 times the value of an individual. The government fees is separate and the individual fees is quite separate. And as I already told you, there is no one single, a patent filed in India is valid only in India. If we want to file for a patent in another country, there are 2 different routes. One we call as PCT, that is Patent Cooperation Treaty. This may be a topic in intellectual property management in your course. We call it as a PCT, Patent Cooperation Treaty. And we have another one route called as conventional application. We don't have much time to discuss these things here. Maybe if there is another one time possible, we will discuss about this. So there is no one patent for this entire world, and there is no such thing called as an international patent at all. Patents are jurisdiction specific. A patent filed in India is valid only for India, and a patent filed in US is valid only for US, and a patent filed in China is valid only for China. So this is how a patent works. So this is how the process or the cost of patenting works in India. So with this, I'd like to end my session, and thanks for the time. I think I didn't take much time more. Yes. Okay, I'm not able to see the time now. So thank you for this opportunity, and I hope my audio was clear across.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you, sir, for very valuable and informative lecture on intellectual property rights management. Now, I would like to request Dr. V.A. Adole to conduct the question answer session. Dr. V.A. Adole.
Okay, I had a question. Let me first answer the first question posted by Dr. Mukund. So can't invention lead to innovation? Doesn't it mean invention is necessary for innovation? Exactly, sir. Today, all the innovations that we make are from the basis of our inventions. But in today's domain, if we try to create more amount of inventions, these inventions will not have a good market share, or from these inventions we cannot make big profits. So, but your question is right. In any manner, innovations or inventions are the leads for all the today's innovations that we have. For example, when Thomas Alva Edison invented the first electric bulb, today we don't have these electric tungsten bulbs across the world. We have something called as light emitting diodes, and we have different shapes of light emitting diode lights and something available. So these are innovations. But in today's market, if we are going to sell these tungsten bulbs outside in the market without innovation, there are still some tungsten bulbs in different designs available in the market for decorative purposes. So these are the innovations that came out of these inventions. And today, innovations are most valid than inventions. And the next question, how can we copyright your own developed application? Okay. For filing a copyright, we have a separate process that is a separate intellectual property. We need to file an application with the Indian Patent Office, and the Patent Office will release a copyrighted document to us. Apart from that, a mobile application, once it is launched, anything that is launched in the digital domain, just from the moment it has been launched, it is self-protected by copyright law. But it is still advisable to file for a copyright and obtained as a written document. And Mr. Rohit has the question, is a patent valid in every country? No, that is what I was telling now. Patents are jurisdiction specific. For academic purposes, you have an Indian patent. And maybe if you are going to apply for a job in some other country or in some other continents, for academic purposes, they will consider it as a good achievement. And they may consider, than compared to having 10 journals or 10 different articles published, one person holding one single patent granted will be considered more worthy than the other people. But a patent for the purpose of business is not considered across the world. An Indian patent is valid only in India. It means any person from China can, without your permission, manufacture and sell your product in China. But if he has to export his product to India and make a business in India, then he will have to seek your permission. In China, he does not need to seek a permission. But if you have also filed a patent in China for the same invention, Chinese will also have to seek your permission to manufacture. As of now, most are going, Dr. Deepak, as of now, most are going for Australian patent as time duration is very less. Please focus on that. Okay. So as I already told you, filing for a patent, there are some basic rules and regulations and some guidelines that is defined by the Indian Patents Act. If a person, there are many people who are actually not even patent professionals who are filing for these Australian patents. What Government of India says is that intellectual property of an Indian citizen is a property owned by the Government of India. Likewise, if a property of the Government of India has been filed for a patent protection in some other country without the permission of the Government of India, it is an offense. We are not supposed to file for an Australian patent, not just Australian patent, not a patent in any other country without seeking the proper permission of the Indian government. And the process will definitely take 2 months of time. Do not be praised for such people who file for Australian patents, or because at the end of the day, you cannot point the person who filed for the patent. The government will ask only the applicants who filed for the patents in some other country, and the person who helped you filing the patent will maybe he will have less amount of impact. But as a person, you filed a patent in Australia, that will be considered as a serious issue. As of now, the government doesn't know. The patent office doesn't know that people are filing a lot of Australian patents. But if it has been created as an issue, then every single person will be prosecuted by law. It is so be very, very cautious. Before filing an Australian patent, just ask the attorney whether they have sought the permission of the Indian government or not. Dr. Mukund, can you give me the website to register copyright of an application? Okay, just search in Google. I cannot actually type the, because I have a very slow internet, I cannot even have the page launched here. So just search in Google Indian copyright, file for Indian copyright online. If you file it, you will have copyright.gov, the website that has the end word as gov.in or nic.in is the official government website to file for your copyright. Can we register a concept as a patent? Exactly, yes. We can directly register a concept as a patent with the government, and the government will never ask for a proof, or the government will never ask for an evidence for the working. But there should be nothing hypothetical in the document. For example, let us say you have created an invention that can take you to the core of the earth. Let us assume that you have a wonderful product innovation or an invention that can take you to the core of the earth. Everyone across the world very well knows reaching the core of earth is highly impossible. It is practically impossible. And it is also hypothetical. If you say that you have invented a machine and through this concept you can reach to the core of the earth, if the patent office gets it out, they will ask you for a physical product. But if the invention's document is not hypothetical, then the patent office will never ask for a physical product or maybe a patent. Any other questions? Okay, if you have any questions, even though if it is not now, even though your questions are going to be shot up later in your mind, the one at the top is my personal email ID, that is prem@financeip.com. So you can directly post me a mail with your queries. I will try to get back with you a reply within about allow me just 48 hours. And at the bottom is my WhatsApp number. That's my official WhatsApp number through which you can even text me and I can give you a reply on your doubts. So if you're in India and you want to call the person in person, on the left is the mobile number of my people in the office. They will attend to your query and they will directly post the query to the concern section to make your queries get cleared. Okay, Mr. Rakesh Patel has a question. Will you please focus on medicinal plants and their patents? Okay. So not just medicinal plants. If we are going to file a patent in India on the basis of any biologically available material, maybe we can take the leaves of eucalyptus, or maybe we can take the leaves of a papaya plant or a guava plant or anything. If we are going to create an invention out of a biological material, before filing a patent, it is mandatory to get the approval from the National Biodiversity Authority. We call it NBA. You can file it. You can even find it in the Google. So before applying for a patent for any biological material available, you need to seek the permission of a National Biodiversity Authority. And only after getting the permission can we file for a patent in India. This is number one. And we can file for patents for medicinal plants. I mean, for plants. Okay, for medicinal plants. But the thing is that if the medicinal plant's value is traditionally known by Indian method, we have another one office in Pune. I just forgot the place. So that office of the Government of India holds all the records for Indian traditional knowledge. Okay, we call it as a Traditional Knowledge Library of India. Okay, so in this particular office, we have a document for every single traditional knowledge of every single tribe that was and that is available in India for their medicinal values. Because every single tribe of India has something different or has some medicinal value that is traditionally known for years together. So if suppose we are going to file a patent for such medicinal plants, then we need to seek the permission from also the Traditional Knowledge Library of the Government of India, as well as the National Biodiversity Authority of India to get the clearance to file for a patent. Apart from that, if after filing for the patent, if the government comes to know that this particular traditional knowledge is already known, or this particular traditional knowledge is already available, they will actually cancel the complete patent application.
Okay, any more question? Okay, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now
yes, you're audible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now it's my honor to announce the vote of thanks. This is one more successful event which is organized by our college. This could not be possible without the guidance, support, and motivation of our respected principal, Honorable Dr. B.H. Jagdale, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for always being with us. My sincere thanks to our most valued research person, Mr. Prem Charles, for sharing his valuable knowledge on intellectual property right management. I also like to thank our Vice Principal, Dr. P.J. Ambekar, sir, Academic Coordinator, Dr. B.H. Desle, sir, IQC Coordinator, Dr. S.S. Tambe, sir, NAC Coordinator, Mr. M.M. Aire, sir, all HODs of various departments, Registrar of the College, Sri Samadhan Kedare, sir, all faculty members, and all dear students for their active participation in this workshop. Now, with the kind permission of President of the webinar, I declare that this program is over. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So I just wanted to ask if the audio was completely clear throughout, or were there some disturbances? Were you able to follow?
No, sir. Actually, you cover up all that things very well. Audio was also clear, very clear. No, nothing.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
So thanks a lot for the time. Bye-bye.
Okay, sir. Bye. Ambekar, sir. Please unmute yourself.
बोला sir.
Can I stop this meeting here?
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. Bye.